Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 16th episode of Season 2 of the Coffin Corner Podcast. I'm your host, KingNightAsp, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Rich E. Cheese. Cheeser, what's up? Hello?
Oh, sorry. You froze on for me for a second. That was super weird.
Did you hear any of that?
No. I heard hello everybody, and then I waited patiently for my cue.
Oh, okay. Well, let me do it again. Is my good friend Richie Cheese. What's up, Cheeser?
Richie Cheese. Is that from last week? What did you call me last week?
That was from last week.
Okay.
Sorry.
Running gag.
I know. I won't do it again, but I had to do it this time. You had no reaction, so I was waiting for you to say, "Oh, you're talking to me."
Yeah, is that me?
Oh, you meant me?
You thought it was all plans.
Yes. I believed in your absolute ability to not react to that.
My ability to play the straight man. Oh man, yeah, not much is up actually. Some trade deadline, coaching getting fired. Pretty exciting couple days.
I'm kind of glad that we're starting this podcast right now because I was just watching the World Series game. What is it? 5? Game 5.
Yes.
Diamondbacks down 3-1. They were 0-0 and suddenly they gave up a run, so now they might lose. Well, I would rather not watch them lose the World Series, so here we are.
Yeah.
I didn't even watch yesterday's game. I was in the car listening to it on the way to work, and when I was getting out of the car, it was 3-2. By the time I got into the building, it was 3-0. By the time I got out of the building, it was 5-0. And by the time I got out of my beginning of work meeting, it was 10-0, so I didn't even turn the game on. So, yeah that's where I'm at right now. Yeah, very quick. But I could go into multiple details about why I thought that game yesterday was dumb, but this is a football podcast, so I'll leave that for somebody else.
Hey, this is our podcast. We talk about what we want to talk about.
Bullpen games are dumb. Let me just say that. How about that?
It's the way baseball is nowadays, though.
All right, so dumb. Let's pivot to oh, by the way, that reminds me. Rest in peace, Matthew Perry.
Yes.
If you knew the pivot joke there is from Friends, which reminded me of that. But
have you seen the blooper from that scene where they just cannot get words out? They're laughing so hard.
They're laughing so hard. Makes sense.
Yes.
That's one of the best scenes from that show.
Oh, absolutely.
Pivot.
I know it's a football podcast, but I do want to say Matthew Perry, man. I watched Fools Rush In all the time when I was growing up. 1, because Selma Hayek is gorgeous. 2, because Matthew Perry is so freaking funny. It's yeah.
Makes sense. Your camera.
And Whole 9 Yards. That was a good one too. Yeah. What's wrong with my camera?
I wish you could see the live stream right now because your camera is stuck in like a 1-second loop and it's just your mouth moving and it looks hilarious. So if you can
mouth moving,
turn off your camera and turn it back on. Just click the little camera
I'm
button.
watching YouTube. It looks fine.
Not yet.
Oh, never mind.
There it is.
I'm just gonna leave it. It's pretty funny. Looks like I'm just chewing bubble gum. I like it.
It is. That's gonna distract the shit out of me though, so I need you to fix it.
I'm sure our 10 viewers won't mind.
I'll mind. There it is. Okay, you're good. All right, let's finally get into this. What do you have for a top 5 for us this week?
So top 5, I thought we're at the halfway points now. Week 8 is over. I mean, technically there's 17 weeks, but 8.5 is the halfway point, so we're there. So I went with top 5 players that we're hoping to break out in the second half. This could be for any number of reasons. Most of mine are personal, fantasy football related, favorite team related. But I'm going to start off with my number one because he's neither. He's just someone that needs to get the ball more because every time he does, he's awesome. But Arthur Smith doesn't understand football, and that's Bijan Robinson.
You know, there was a blueprint to what's going on with Bijan Robinson. There was a blueprint to what's going on with Bijan Robinson previously on the same team. And you might know his name, Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
When you have a player like that and you don't use them, what do you expect to happen?
Yeah.
So
I don't know, man. It's so frustrating because you watch him and he looks so athletic and so explosive, but he only gets like 12 touches a game.
Right, exactly. And you were doing well when you were giving him more touches than that. Like, what happened to make you think, okay, so this is working, let's try something else? I don't know.
Let's reinvent the wheel and hand the ball off to Tyler Algier some more.
So my first one is Jameson Williams from the Detroit Lions. As you might have seen, the Lions traded for a wide receiver this week. And part of the reason they felt the need to do that is because some wide receivers on our team are not living up to expectations. And as much as people love Jamo, and I love him too, that guy has not played well at all. He had a long interception catch. That was an awesome play, but anytime he's thrown the ball in not a run down the field really fast situation, from my memory, which, obviously might be tainted from the fact that it happens so often, he will run past his spot on the field where he's supposed to make the catch, try to come back to it, and drop the ball. Even though when it hits him in the hands, he'll be falling to the ground trying to make the catch in a spot he should have been and drop the ball. I need him to play wide receiver, NFL level wide receiver, because he's not doing that this season. And the Marvin Jones left the Lions for personal reasons. But Jameson's first few games are looking exactly like Marvin's did at the beginning of the season, where the ball's thrown to him, he's given it a more than enough chance to catch the ball and just doesn't. So I need more out of Jameson Williams in the second half. Or Donovan Peoples-Jones may become our guy.
Yeah, it's frustrating because Jamo has done some explosive catches like last season when he got in a little bit. And now he seems to be kind of going through those like sophomore slump or rookie stumbles, or I don't know, but he needs to kind of go back to basics. Just run his routes, catch the ball.
Yeah, I need him. I guess my expectation for him is to be a possession receiver, someone that makes receptions and then makes plays, when what he currently is, and I don't know if that's all he'll ever be, is a guy that you rely on for big plays. And a lot of teams have that guy. Maybe that's all he is, but if that's the case, we need another receiver. Thankfully, Josh Reynolds and Khalif Raymond are doing well this season, but I can't expect that every season. So,
yeah. Well, luckily Sam Laporta is already broken out, so.
Oh, yeah. Love Laporta.
So my number two, speaking of tight ends, plays for the Cardinals and had a monster game on Sunday. And his first game as a starter. And I was there, and it was awesome. And I love the guy, Trey McBride. I hope Zach Ertz, when he comes back, just stays on the sideline. Nothing against Ertz. He would be a good number two, but they need to just let Trey McBride be their starting tight end. That dude made some amazing catches on some poorly thrown balls from Josh Dobbs. His touchdown, he never stopped fighting for it. Probably should have been whistled dead if we're being honest, but set the franchise record for receptions by a tight end in a game. I mean, just let the kid be the starter.
Yep. I'm looking at the contract situation. It looks like Zach Ertz has next year left on his contract. So Might be trade material in the for the draft. I could see that. Because if you're going to go with McBride, there's no reason to keep Zach Ertz. Cut is another thing. I often think of the NFL in terms of like NBA and those types of things where you can't just outright cut people. But yeah, they could outright cut him if they need to. But I still feel like he would have draft value despite... I mean, he did get injured, but before his injury, he was being targeted the same way Trey McBride is now. So he has output. We'll see what happens with him.
Well, Josh Dobbs does love to throw to tight ends. I don't know how much Clayton Tune or Kyler Murray will. But just having Trey McBride, younger, he's big, he's strong. He just needs to stay their starter.
Right.
And hopefully he'll break out and become like a top 5 tight end in the league. It wouldn't be hard. There aren't very many.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look at what Laporte has done. So
yeah. He's already top 5.
So the next one is one that I've been expecting to happen way before now in this season, but that is the signing of Leonard Fournette to the Buffalo practice squad. So James Cook has not impressed me this season. He has good games, and he has no game. And they don't really have a good... Who's their backup? I don't want to say they don't really have a good backup, but they don't have one that I can think of.
Latavius Murray.
Oh, see, there you go. Yeah, and if you look at what Latavius Murray has been doing this season as the backup to James Cook. If Leonard Fournette just became the backup to James Cook, he could probably work his way into the starting lineup. So I'm expecting big things from Leonard Fournette. I think they signed him because they want more out of that position at halfback, whether that's full-time from him or half-time with James Cook. But I feel like Leonard Fournette is going to be a really good signing for Buffalo, because I did not understand why no one picked him up after the season he had last season. So this will be interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy how running backs, man, once they, even in the late 20s, everyone's just like, bro, we're done with them. Yeah. But, he should be a good run between the tackles, tough yardage type back for them.
Yeah. Let's see.
My number 3, sticking with running backs, because waiting on a lot of them to break out. I'm going with Najee Harris. He has been massively disappointing to anyone who drafted him in fantasy football, which I did in a couple leagues. Not a lot, but a couple. They've been using him and Jaylen Warren together. Neither one of them has really been effective. I still think Najee Harris is a good running back. He's just hasn't really been able to have any big games, explosive runs, anything like that. So I'm hoping they can get the run game going, because the Steelers' offense has not been good, and they need something to happen.
Yeah, Najee Harris is one of those halfbacks in fantasy football that I usually stay away from. Najee, let me list some halfbacks like Najee Harris that I'd like to stay away from. Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, Javonte Williams. Those are names in the past 3 to 4 years that I always stay away from, because they have the potential to be good, but it's a week-to-week basis whether you get nothing, a little something, or a 40-point game. Like that's all you get from those guys, and I try to stay away from that type, because I either want 14 points a game on average, rather than 0, 0, 14, 40, 0, 5, like that type of thing. And that's what I see Najee Harris as. So if he were to break out in the second half, like you say, and be consistent week to week, that would be really good for the Steelers, especially since they have a decent record. They did lose last week, so they're now 4-3, but they are still in a good position in the AFC. So
yeah, absolutely. They're still fighting.
Yep. I'm with you. I could see it. My third is completely and utterly inspired by the firings last night. We'll get all of that into the news, but I wrote this name in here before it happened. That's how this went. Last night, after the coach and the GM were fired, I wrote Aiden and Connell in this for my top 5 players I'm hoping to break out, because in my mind was like, there's no reason now to keep starting Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'm like, the only smart thing that they could do is start Aiden Connell at some point this season to see what they have with him. And it was announced that he's starting this week. So I want to see Aiden O'Connell break out in the second half of this season, because I liked him in the preseason. I think he's a good quarterback that if you could translate his preseason success to the regular season, I think the Raiders might actually have someone they don't have to worry about drafting a quarterback in this year's draft with. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. They gave him a start earlier in the year, and then when Garoppolo got hurt against the Bears, they went back to Hoyer for some reason. So I'm hopeful to see how the kid does, and yeah, the Raiders could be a completely different looking team in the second half of the year with McDaniels gone. It's happened before. Look at the Panthers last year. Yeah. When they went to Steve Wilkes, man, they were a completely different team. So
when I was looking into Antonio Pierce, who's the interim coach, I knew the name, but I didn't know where from, right? Two things. Very good Giants middle linebacker. I think it was middle linebacker. Very good Giants linebacker, Pro Bowler, in the Super Bowl, all that type of stuff. That kicked up the memory of him in my head. But did you also know that he is a former University of Arizona Wildcat?
I did not know that.
Yeah. He's an undrafted free agent signing out of Arizona when he went to the NFL. I was like, oh, sweet. We got a Wildcat head coach in the NFL. Let's go.
Yeah, that is pretty awesome. Nice. All right, my number 4, you mentioned him, Javonte Williams, another running back that he had a big game on Sunday, which hopefully is a sign of things to come. He's a guy I took in our Dynasty League. He's a guy I took in multiple leagues last year. He's a guy I took multiple leagues this year. He looks so good when he runs and then just doesn't get the opportunity as much. Like he's a lot like, I mean, he's not as good as Bijan Robinson, but it's kind of the same situation in my mind with Bijan Robinson. Last year, he missed the year, most of the year with the injury. This year, he's kind of been getting more and more touches each game. I'm really hoping that they see what happened with the Chiefs, and they're like, hey, if we give the ball to Javonte Williams, we can win. So that's my hope, because especially in the Dynasty League, boy, it would be nice to have him become one of the best running backs in the league, like I thought he was going to when I took him 3 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly the reason he's on this list with your Najee Harris is exactly the reason that I was talking about. It's one of those week to week, you don't know if he's even the starter that week, because Jaleel McLaughlin, I think that's his name, Jaleel McLaughlin.
Yeah, it's funny. Everybody thought like Jaleel McLaughlin was going to out-touch him, and then all of a sudden, like on Sunday, they're like, nope, give the ball to Javonte, and then they won. And it's like, oh, who knows what they're going to do this week, but I really hope they learn their lesson.
Well, I mean, the Jets did the same thing with Dalvin Cook and Breece Hall. I know he was coming back from an injury, but it's like, let's split touches with these two. And then finally they were just like, Breece Hall's our guy. And they've been doing pretty decent since then. So, yeah.
Yep.
I'm going to keep it on the running back. We'll just go, between the two of us, 4 straight running backs here. But I'm going to go with Jonathan Taylor from Indianapolis. Since coming back from his quote-unquote injury, he's had 1 or 2 good games. I think his last game was actually his best so far. So I'm just looking for him to continue to build on that in the second half and be the halfback that we know he has been in the past, and just bring all that back together so that hopefully, people can forget about everything that happened in the preseason, the beginning of this season, and whether or not he is a Colt after this season, that he shows his value to other teams, because we talk about this all the time with running backs, how quickly they lose value. But I don't want Jonathan Taylor to turn into another James Robinson. And if you understand that reference, you know what I'm talking about. Not to mention that James Robinson and Jonathan Taylor were both on my dynasty team throughout my dominant 2-year run before this year. And now I'm just staring running backs in the face, wondering what happened to them. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I want to see Jonathan Taylor do well.
It'll be interesting to see. They did sign him to an extension, but I'm still curious to see if he would be traded after this season. Will definitely be.
If he's not, Zach Moss definitely should be while he has value.
Zach Moss should have been traded like 2 weeks ago. Like he had the highest value when Jonathan Taylor was coming back, and they should have just struck while the iron was hot, or traded Jonathan Taylor. Because but I don't know. My last one is the most personal because he plays for my most favorite team, and he plays the most important position on my most favorite team. Sam Howell. Obviously, he had a huge game against Philly. Probably his best game as a starter so far. And here's the reasoning behind why I hope Sam Howell breaks out. It's not so much to do with him. I like him. I've seen him make some throws that really impressed me, and I've seen him do some stuff that really pissed me off. But if Sam Howell can break out enough to convince the new GM and head coach next year that he's a guy to build around, it frees the Commanders up to do so many other things in the draft and free agency. Instead of going after a quarterback or trading up for Drake May or something like that, they can say, okay, we've got our quarterback. Now we can use our picks and our cap space to build around him. And after the trades, they now have 5 picks in the first 3 rounds, which is something that Washington has never had in their entire franchise history. And that goes back to the Redskins. So there is a real chance for them to get 5 starters next year. Plus, they've got some good cap space that they can build around. If they don't want Sam Howell, then all of a sudden it's like, well, we're picking 9th, and if we throw all of our picks at the people at 1 or 2, maybe we can go get Caleb Williams or Drake May. Fine. But it would be so much quicker for them if it's like, all right, Sam Howell looks like he could be an average to above average starter. Let's just, like Kirk Cousins. And then let's just throw, get some offensive linemen, some linebackers, some corners, and build around him. That's why that's my number one. It's not like, I'm not like, oh my God, Sam Howell's the next Tom Brady. I think he can be good. He's only played 9 games, and he's taking a lot of sacks. But he's also, his completion percentage is top half of the league, his yards, his touchdowns, like hasn't been terrible. So
biggest point I can make to that is going to my team, and it's it literally drives home exactly what you're saying, because the Lions decided that they were going to try to rebuild by trading Stafford, right? But in that trade, they got 2 first-rounders, but they also got Jared Goff. And having Jared Goff and not having to spend any of those first-round picks on a quarterback or package picks to try to move up to get a quarterback, in the last 2 drafts, they have gotten 5, 6, maybe even 7 starters. Malcolm Rodriguez, Jack Campbell, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jamison Williams, Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
And that's
Laporta.
Laporta. Like, they've gotten so many starters with their first and second round picks in the last few years because of the fact that they didn't have to draft a quarterback. That's why they're at where they're at now, because of the fact that they were able to build a team without selling out the team build and pushing it out years by trading picks to go get a quarterback. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of when you were saying all that. So makes sense.
Yeah, because you look at Carolina and they traded up to get Bryce Young. They gave up first round picks to do it. So not only do they need Bryce to develop, but it's going to be tough for them to build around him without those draft picks.
You have to hit on your picks now because you don't have as many, and they might not be as good as they could have been, which makes it very hard for the GM.
If they're picking five of the top 100 players, the first 100 picks in the draft, they're picking 5. You got to hit on them because we've wasted a lot of picks the last couple of years, especially second-round picks, on backups. And Emmanuel Forbes, who looks like a bust. Jamin Davis hasn't really done much. So it's whoever they get to be general manager, God, I hope he's smart. But yeah, if Sam Howell can at least show them enough promise that they believe he can be. Plus, he's on a rookie deal, so he's super cheap as a 5th rounder. Really good opportunity for them to rebuild very quickly. But we shall see.
Yeah, we'll see what they actually do.
He only got sacked once against Philly. I mean, that's pretty damn impressive considering he was averaging like 5 a game.
Yeah, not to mention that line. That's crazy.
Yeah.
My last one is Quentin Johnson from the Los Angeles Clippers. And this Los Angeles Clippers.
Oh, that wasn't a joke. I thought you were making a joke.
I looked at LAC and I said Clippers instead of Chargers. From the Los Angeles Chargers, Quentin Johnson. And the reason for that, that's just me doing what I always do. But Keenan Allen, hurt often. Mike Williams, out this year. Often hurt as well. They need a third wide receiver. Someone that they can count on that's really good, which also will leave them open to letting those older receivers either go or trade them away to continue to get younger around Herbert. So I want to see Quentin Johnson do well. I'm a Chargers fan, so he's had a good few weeks the past few weeks. So I'm hoping that just continues throughout the end of the season, and Quentin Johnson becomes one of their new breakout wide receivers.
Well, I will say that Josh Palmer has started to really come along pretty well ever since Mike Williams went down. I like him as well. So if Quentin Johnson breaks out, him and Josh Palmer, it's like, yeah, all of a sudden they don't need Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. They can actually move on from one of them.
Yep, for sure.
Awesome. Well, let's dive into the news. Like we mentioned, it was a pretty busy week with trade deadline and coaches getting fired. So we'll start off with Josh McDaniels getting fired by the Raiders last night at midnight.
Dude, that surprised the crap out of me. I'm sitting at work, so I work overnight. So I'm obviously awake, wide awake, just working. And my phone goes off and then ESPN update, and I just thought it was another article shitting on the Diamondbacks. But instead, it was a surprise talking about Josh McDaniels and their GM for the Raiders being fired. And I was like,
yep.
On a Tuesday?
Yeah, happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Trick or treat, and he got a trick.
Yeah. So Josh McDaniels should probably just ride out the rest of his career as the Patriots offensive coordinator and just not try again because both attempts have been terrible. So just go ahead and stay in your lane because you are a good offensive coordinator. I can say that. But you are not a good head coach. And so I'm not surprised by this. The only question I have is whether it makes Davante Adams happy because I really thought they might end up trading him on Tuesday, but he's still there on the Raiders, so we'll see what happens.
I honestly think that Mike Davis or Mark Davis, whatever his name is, looked at it and said, I have to choose between Davante Adams or Josh McDaniels, and he chose Davante Adams. So come Sunday, I really think Davante Adams can get targeted a lot to make him happy.
Well, you've seen like a recent trend in the NFL with former player coaches doing very well. D'Amico Ryans, Dan Campbell, like it is a thing that is happening around the league right now. And Antonio Pierce is a player's coach, so we'll see what he can do for the rest of the season with that team. Maybe rally them to not be as bad as they have been.
Yeah, and at least the Raiders will be interesting to watch.
Yeah.
We talked about Jimmy Garoppolo benched for Aiden O'Connell. The Falcons also benched their quarterback, Desmond Ridder, for Taylor Heineke.
I did not see that.
Desmond Ritter.
I did not see that this week. That's news to me right now.
Oh, yes, they announced
crazy.
that today, that Taylor Heineke will start going forward. A team that made no move at quarterback in the offseason except signing Taylor Heineke finally realized Desmond Ritter is not the answer.
Yeah.
So add them to the list of teams looking for a quarterback next year, which that list is getting long.
It is getting very long.
Yeah, and of course Heineke, as a former Commander, I like his drive, I like his fire. He just doesn't have the arm strength. All of his passes are just not. Every one of them looked like it was going to get intercepted when I would watch him throw. So we'll see how he does. But he is from Atlanta, so that's kind of neat that he gets to start for his hometown team.
Drake London and Kyle Pitts owners rejoice. You might actually have a chance with those players now.
Yeah, they'll actually bet the ball in the area of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And he'll have some exciting games. He is a competitor. He's got that drive. So, again, Falcons more interesting now. Kirk Cousins out for the season with a torn Achilles. I don't know if you saw the replay of it. But you could actually see his Achilles snapping like a rubber band.
I was about to say, just like any other Achilles injury that happens, I hate those videos. They make my stomach churn.
Yeah.
There's no gore to it whatsoever, but you watch it knowing exactly what's happening, and it is just devastating.
You can see his lower leg just snap and wobble as the two pieces of his Achilles are bouncing back inside his lap.
It's making my stomach turn now.
I remember what happened. I think it was Odell Beckham. We saw that one happen live too, and it was like, oh, yep, that's exactly what happened. But
didn't like that.
So the Vikings traded for Josh Dobbs, which I assume he will be starting for them. I don't think they've announced it yet, actually, but they added him. And of course, Kirk is a free agent after the season, but the head coach did say that he wants to keep him, which I think is really cool because Kirk has done really well in Minnesota. So if he can come back healthy from that injury next year, maybe he sticks around. And for the Cardinals,
I would love for them to keep him because they can't win anything with him. So go ahead and keep him.
The Cardinals traded Josh Dobbs to Minnesota, so they said Clayton Tune will start they said Clayton Tune or Kyler Murray, but we all know it's Clayton Tune. Will start week 9 against the Browns. I think Murray returns week 10 against the Falcons, which is great because I'll be there. So, but I'm excited to see how Clayton Tune does. He was one of those guys we talked about pre-draft, so now he gets to start, but it's against the Browns defense, which kind of sucks for him. And then for the trade deadline, the Commanders sold off both of their pending free agent defensive ends, Chase Young and Montez Sweat. I thought they'd maybe try to keep one of them, but they didn't. I don't care. Montez Sweat is the older one. They traded him to Chicago for a second-round pick.
Which was surprising as shit. Why is Chicago making trades to get better?
I think Chicago's mindset is that they'll be able to extend him, even though he said today that he's not even thinking about extension right now. Because he doesn't want to lock himself into playing for Chicago if they're going to be terrible.
Yeah, why would you? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And,
I did not understand that Bears trade at all. A second rounder for a guy you might not get to keep?
I love it because it's also a very early second rounder.
It's great for the Commanders. This trade is just
it's like
any other team that's competing, trading for Sweat, you get a bad pick. The Bears, who are not good, giving you a second round pick, that's picks away from being a first rounder. So that's a perfect trade for the Commanders.
It would be pick 35.
Exactly.
I mean, that's fantastic. That is a first round player that will fall out of the first round. You're going to get a first round player. So yeah, love that trade. Chase Young to San Francisco for a third. Now, a lot of Commanders fans are moaning about this one because it's only a third.
Well, I don't understand. I don't know what you thought you were going to get for.
Yeah, Chase Young has not played, and when he has played, he hasn't been uber dominant. Like, he's not Myles Garrett or T.J. Watt. We're not getting a first rounder for this guy just because we drafted him for a first rounder.
Because his name
Jeff Okudah went third in that draft, and what did the Lions get for him? A fifth?
Fifth rounder.
So, yeah, I'm happy with a third. And it's a late third, sure. I don't care. It's still a third-round pick. But yeah, I'm fine with it, honestly. Like both, it sucks that we had to trade. You know, both of these were first round picks, so it sucks that they didn't sign extensions, and we got less than we paid for them. But getting anything for two people that we're just gonna walk in the offseason anyways, fine by me.
Makes
And then you
sense to
mentioned
me.
Donovan Peoples-Jones traded to the Lions, adding wide receiver depth for them.
I loved him as a Brown. I always thought he was going to break out and be one of their top 2 receivers, and he never did. So, which means we ended up getting him for a pretty decent pick. I think it was a 5th. So
Yeah, it was super late. I think it was even later than that. Yeah,
Peoples-Jones has made good catches in his career, and to see him become a Lion, that makes me very happy.
it was the 6th round pick in 2025, so it's not even next year's draft.
Not even next year's draft, and not a 5th, but a 6th. So good trade.
Yeah, great trade. If I remember correctly, he is like a deep threat too, so could be explosive for them. Yeah, I like that trade. Leonard Williams traded from the Giants to the Seahawks. Packers corner Rasul Douglas traded to the Bills. Vikings traded guard Ezra Cleveland to the Jaguars, which I did read an article where everybody talked about he's a great young guard. It's great for the Jags, great for ETN, blah, blah, blah. So I thought we'd mention that. And then you talked about Leonard Fournette signing to the Bills practice squad.
Yep. A lot of interesting things going on this week.
Not as many trades as I thought there'd be, though. I thought we'd get like Jerry Jeudy or Devontae Adams or something.
Daniil Hunter didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
What's the other one that was talked about a lot? Gosh, who was it?
Well, the Bears corner Jalen Johnson, he wants out, and they told him go find a trade, and then he never got traded. So it's like I guess he's just going to be unhappy there.
There was another big defensive line. Oh, Brian Burns from the Panthers. He didn't get traded.
Oh yeah,
either.
Brian Burns.
So yeah, well, less trades than I thought, but it was interesting, and it was a perfect time for that top 5 because there's a lot of shakeup going on after a trade deadline. So
yeah. It's funny. I honestly considered putting some of the Commanders' young defensive ends on the list now that they're going to be getting starting opportunities because they drafted 2 people this year, KJ Henry and I can't remember the other guy's name, Andre Jones or something. I like KJ Henry, so it's like one of those things that hey, maybe he could develop into a starter, but if not, it really doesn't matter. Sam Howell's the most important one.
no.
All right, well, let's dive into our Week 8 review, starting off with our Week 8 Thursday Night foreplay. Once again, we both missed it.
I've jinxed a wide receiver who was doing good this season.
Yeah, please stop doing that.
I picked Tampa Bay to cover the 8.5, which they did. But I also picked Mike Evans with over 4.5 receptions and over 60 yards, and he got neither. But Josh Allen did get his over 259.5 yards passing. So I was 2 for 4. Doesn't feel good. I was
3 for 4, and I'm mad at myself because I upped my Stephon Diggs receiving yards. I went high because I wanted to up my odds. I went with 100 plus. They ended up with 70. If I would have just gone with the 50 like I originally was thinking, I would have gotten all 4, but I got greedy. But I did get Josh Allen, 250 plus passing yards, the Bills to cover 2.5, and the over 34.5. So
nice.
We'll get there. I did purposely a very low odd one this week because I'm just trying to get a win.
I should have put what my odds were on mine, but yes, I picked only one player prop this week. I'm hoping for
yeah, you actually, we'll talk about it, but you picked a harder bet in my opinion than a player prop, but we'll talk about that. So game by game, Bucks Bills. This game was competitive if you look at the box score, but watching this game, the Bucks really were never in it. But they had it close at the end, but yeah, Bills dominated.
Yeah, it was. The box score was closer than the game was in the end.
Yeah.
So
yeah, keeping it, getting Bills winning by 6. It's like,
and Khalil Shakir breakout game.
Yeah, I
Okay,
know.
well,
I
that
picked him
guy,
up in the Dynasty.
I didn't even know that guy's name till that game, and he was going off in that game.
Yeah,
So,
I picked him up in our Dynasty League, so I was like, oh, he's just sitting there. Why not?
yeah, exactly.
Eagles, Commanders. I mean, the Commanders were doing really well in this game until the fourth quarter. I mean, they lost by 7. Another close loss to the Eagles. That's good considering it's the Eagles. But yeah, big thing for this one for me was just Sam Howell. They
I'll say almost
yeah,
400
he threw an
yards and 4
interception.
touchdowns. I'd say.
Yeah, and only took 1 sack, which is fantastic. So again, it's just I don't expect the guy to look, like Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow, but if he can at least be cut down on the sacks, cut down on the interceptions and turnovers, and look like he could develop, and just give new GM, new coach may want to just go for the broke with quarterback, but man, if they could find somebody who actually wants to commit to Sam Howell, and it would be so much easier for them to rebuild. But AJ Brown in this one.
I heard Josh McDaniels is available.
Ridiculous. No. I actually wouldn't mind if they just went with Bieniemy. I mean, Ron Rivera will be fired at some point this season, and Bieniemy will be promoted to interim head coach. So if they play well enough under Bieniemy, they may just keep Bieniemy as full head coach next year, because Bieniemy likes Howell, and Howell is doing well in his offense. So just keep those two together. But the big thing is Ron and of course Jack Del Rio and the defense need to be completely blown up.
Yeah.
Jags Steelers. Jags get the win. The biggest thing for me in this one was Kenny Pickett getting banged up, but I guess he's fine for tomorrow night. No worry there. But the Jaguars suddenly, I mean, they were struggling a bit a couple weeks ago, but now they're 6-2 and looking like the Jags we expected them to be.
Yeah, they 6-2 is not representative of what it's kind of like the Steelers when they were 4-2. I'm like, they're 6-2. It feels like they've lost more than that, but they are rolling right now. Travis Etienne is having a crazy good season.
Yeah, he is.
So
yes, he is. That's why I'm doing so well in our Dynasty League.
And after having 5 yards and ruining my parlay last week, Ridley had 83 yards. So thanks for that, Ridley.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Bounce back week for Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
He knew it was coming.
Yep.
Saints Colts. This game was actually a lot of points scored.
After watching the Saints on Thursday Night Football, it was the Saints, wasn't it?
Yeah, Saints and who was that? The Saints and Jags. Saints Jaguars.
Yeah. After watching that game, to watch the Saints put up 38 points this week was confusing to me. Because they looked, I remember sending the text. I remember the text exact words. The Saints are hot garbage or hot ass.
Yeah.
Whatever I said in the chat. I guess I don't remember it word for word, but I remember it was hot garbage or ass, one of the two, and they were terrible. And look at them scoring 38 points on the Colts. So, not too shabby. And
good,
that Rashid
good
Shaheed,
it's a bounce back.
Rashid Shaheed is just an absolute monster.
He's just a deep threat. He's just like a
and
Deshaun
it is
Jackson.
Working. It's crazy.
Yeah.
How
3
are people
catches,
not
153 yards?
with a long of 58, which means that's 2 other 40-something yard catches, 3 40-yard catches, over 40-yard catches. It's insane.
Yeah.
So
the problem is that he's like hot and cold. And that's when you have a guy that's a deep threat like that. It's like he's either going to catch 3 for 153 or he's going to catch 2 for 28.
it's exactly like those halfbacks I was talking about.
Yeah. Not consistent enough to start in fantasy every week. But exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And good for the Saints. 4-4, still fighting for the NFC South.
Yep.
Texans Panthers, man, did not see this one coming. I said in the podcast last week that I thought the Panthers would play better after the bye, but I didn't think the Texans would play worse.
Yeah.
Like they did not play anything like they had been playing.
No, I don't know how you let that team in like that. It made no sense. But it helped the Cardinals out. Now they're sitting at pretty with the number 1 pick.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I still like CJ Stroud. I think the Texans will be fine. I don't know if the Panthers will win another game. They only won this one off a last-second field goal anyways, but the biggest thing for me out of this one was just the Texans all of a sudden disappearing after looking pretty dang good.
Yeah. I would say they'll probably bounce back and be fine, but that sucks for that game.
I hope so. Yeah.
I mean, if you look at their defense, they had 6 sacks and, or they didn't get an interception, but their defense was fine. They just couldn't stop them when it mattered. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Rams, Cowboys. Rangers won the World Series. All right.
Well, I saw that they scored. I saw they scored 4 runs over the last 2 innings, and the Diamondbacks still hadn't.
I just got the notification on my phone.
So I was just like, move fast. I don't care. Whatever. They weren't supposed to be there anyway. They're young. They'll be back. That's all I have to say.
It was exciting just to be invited. Let's see. Cowboys, Rams. Cowboys dominated the Rams. I thought maybe the Rams would have a chance in this one, but the Cowboys, for the first time all season, Dak Prescott looked like everybody thinks Dak Prescott looks. 304 yards, 4 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb was an absolute monster in this game.
And don't forget, Stafford got hurt.
Yeah, Stafford got hurt. How much of the game did he miss? I didn't actually watch this one.
I didn't see Win, but Brett Ripien was in for multiple.
Yeah, he threw
multiple
attempted
drives.
10 passes, 5 for 42. Yeah, he played like crap. But yeah, the Cowboys, they were up 33-9 at halftime when Stafford was still healthy.
And Puka Nacua also got hurt. So Stafford hurt, Puka hurt, Kyron Williams on the IR. Not looking good for the Rams.
Nope. Either the Cowboys have their draft pick next year, or do the Rams finally get theirs back?
You talk the Lions, you mean?
Yeah, do the Lions have their draft pick next year, or do
You
the
said
Rams
Dallas,
have
so I was confused.
okay.
No, the Lions used their last Rams pick on Jack Campbell this year, I think.
Oh,
no,
because it's
it
going
might
to
have
be
been
an early
Jameer
one
Gibbs.
this year. Yeah. It would be a good one to have this year.
Well, I mean, it was good the year after the Super Bowl when they didn't win anything. So we've had good Rams picks.
Jets, Giants. Jets get the win in overtime. Good for them. A lot closer. I thought the Jets would win this one handedly, but they struggled a little bit. But
well, Brees Hall 12 carries for 17 yards. That doesn't help.
Yeah, he only got production in the air.
Yeah.
But yeah, they get the win. Giants, the -9 net passing yards. I mean, that is just insane.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that in today's NFL.
And still only lose by 3.
Yeah.
Good thing Saquon Barkley went for 138 yards or 128 yards.
36 carries. Ridiculous.
Yeah, that's insane.
But Patriots, Dolphins. Dolphins got the win, of course. They didn't fall victim to the Patriot upset the way the Bills did, so good for them.
Did we talk about, since we're on this game, did we talk about what the in-season Hard Knocks is?
I don't think we did. No, I don't think we did.
It's the Dolphins, and I cannot wait.
That's going to be a really good one.
Cannot wait for the Mike McDaniel's uncut Hard Knocks. That's going to be so good. I love that guy.
Yeah, that...
Plus, hearing more of the story of Tua, a little bit more Tyreek, Jalen Waddle, even that's going to be fun.
Yeah. Well, and after last season's was the Cardinals, and their second half was garbage, so it'll be nice to have a in season where it's actually entertaining for a team that is winning and making a playoff push. Yeah, everybody's happy.
We're not expecting a coach to be fired in the middle of Hard Knocks.
Right. All right. Falcons, Titans. Titans get the win behind Will Levis's 4 touchdowns. It looked good. It looked good for his first start. I did not expect that.
No, neither did I. I also did not expect Hopkins to get his first 3 touchdowns of the year in one game.
Yeah, off 4 catches. It's like all he did was just catch touchdowns in that game.
It was insane.
Yeah, that was really exciting if you're a Titans fan, because I mean that's, again, it's like the Commanders. If you have a quarterback that you believe in, then it means you don't need one in the offseason, and it frees you up to focus on other shit.
Yeah, you can build around them. The best,
yeah,
hottest waiver wire pickup this week. Absolutely, it's crazy.
Yes, everybody wants to jump on that Levis train.
Levis, Trey McBride, and there was a couple others, and I was just like, man, everybody's going for them.
It's funny. I'm either in leagues where I don't need anyone, like I haven't had many injuries, all my players are doing well, or I'm in leagues where I'm 1-7 and I just don't care to do waiver pickups.
In one of my leagues, Laporta is on bye week, and I don't have a second tight end, but Trey McBride is already gone in that league. And there's nothing left, like literally nothing. I think I'm starting Cade Otton this week off the waiver wire.
I am starting Taysom Hill in one league because I have I forget who my tight end is in that one, but yeah, because I'm looking at Taysom Hill and I'm like, he's involved in that offense and they're playing the Bears. You know that guy's gonna run for a touchdown or some stupid shit.
Something random, yeah.
Yeah. Vikings, Packers. Vikings got the win, even though they lost Kirk Cousins. They're 4-4. You know, I don't really think they're competing for anything. They traded for Josh Dobbs to
so they're not
have
now.
Somebody with starting experience. Yeah.
I'm being completely honest. I was worried about the Vikings surging. And I said this back when we were talking about teams that are under 500 that shouldn't be. And the Vikings was one of mine. And this is exactly why. Fought all the way back to 4-4 after being, 1-3? And
yeah,
the only thing that stops that now is Kirk Cousins getting hurt. So I'm not worried about Josh Dobbs. I see the Vikings
I wonder
fading.
If they'll start Dobbs, or if they.
I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna start him this week. I think he'll be starting next week. Who are they going to
give him a chance to learn the offense?
What is the name of the guy? Jaron Hall. I don't think that
Jaron Hall,
their future.
5th round pick from BYU.
Yeah, exactly. So I think Josh Dobbs starts next week. I think Jaron Hall starts this week, and especially if he has a bad game, Josh Dobbs is in next week. But I think they got Dobbs because he was a cheap option. He has been starting all season, and he can fill in. That's what I think they went with there. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's probably true. For the Packers, I did love today that the GM said he's not sure if Jordan Love is their franchise quarterback. And I just want to be like, you're not sure? I'm sure he's not your franchise quarterback. I mean,
I'm sure you probably shouldn't have said that, but great work on that. I love when teams sabotage themselves from the inside, so good job.
Especially when it's the Packers. It makes me happy.
So
Browns, Seahawks. Seahawks scored a touchdown late to get the win here. Browns played them tough.
That was a fun game to watch.
Played them tough, but that was a good one. PJ Walker, not been that great. I really thought the Browns would trade for Dobbs, try to get him back, but I guess they're just gonna keep rolling with PJ Walker because nobody knows what's going on with Deshaun Watson.
They're just completely given up on DRC. DTR.
DTR.
DRC was
Dominic Rogers Kamari.
Yeah,
that's
DRC
a
was
blast from the past right there.
A quarterback.
Yeah, for the Cardinals. Good old DRC.
Yeah.
I guess after one game they saw enough of DTR. They're just like, nope, back to the bench.
Back to PJ Walker.
Yeah. Bengals 49ers. Bengals get the win. 49ers, man, you lose Deebo Samuel, and all of a sudden the 49ers are human.
You want to know what's fun about this? And I don't have any doubt that the 49ers are good. But in ESPN's power rankings, 49ers lose their third straight and went up in the power rankings. The Lions won their game and went down in the power rankings. I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Whose power rankings are these? ESPN's?
Some ESPN analysts. I don't remember who it was. But I was like, okay, sure, guy.
Did he have an explanation?
It was inside of something I couldn't read, so.
Oh, okay. That's yeah, that's super weird. But I mean, that's I don't know. But
we'll get to the Lions game and then I'll explain why
yeah,
what he wrote about the Lions. But I'm like, okay, guy, let's calm down a little bit.
Yeah, but for the Bengals, I mean, it looks like they're back after struggling early in the season like they do. Now they're going to start their second half run,
which is hilarious because they started winning after I said, okay, I'm stopping. I'm going to stop making excuses for them. Now they're not good. Then suddenly they were good. So
yep.
I am
Joe Burrow listened to the podcast and was like, I'm going to shut that guy up.
I am so good at saying things, and then the very next week or the very next day, as far as parlays go, the opposite happening. So all Bengals fans are welcome.
Do what I do and bet against your team, because then you jinx it. Because if you lose all your bets, then you'll lose that bet and your team will win.
Yeah, there you go.
Or you'll just win money, which is what happened to me on Sunday with the Eagles game. Ravens Cardinals. This game, it happened.
All I can say about this game is the fact that the Ravens didn't manhandle the Cardinals after what they did to the Lions is just insane.
Yeah,
the fact that the Cardinals
the Ravens
held this close at the end.
If the Cardinals had a better quarterback, they probably would have won this game because both of Dobbs' interceptions turned directly into points, and they ended up losing by 7.
Mm-hmm.
So you take away those turnover points, and it's like, yeah, they may have well won this game. And that's why they're starting Clayton Tune. But yeah, we talked about Trey McBride. Just awesome to see him have such a big game. It's really honestly all about it. The only thing I will say about this is, man, there were a lot of Ravens fans in Phoenix. I did not expect there to be that many. It was crazy.
My other takeaway was Gus Edwards' breakout game. I mean, it was against the Cardinals, but
short touchdowns.
Well, he had 80 yards on his 3 touchdowns with only a long of 10, which means he was running his heart out. So
I don't know. What didn't impress me watching him in person. I also wasn't impressed by Lamar Jackson.
That's what I'm saying. The week before, you would have been like, "What the hell?" I don't think that Arizona's defense is that good, and they're definitely not as good as the Lions. Some of the Lions just freaking.
The Lions just
slept.
Had one of their
should have thought they were on their bye week that week. I don't know.
Just one of those games where they just walked through it.
Mm-hmm.
Sleptwalk. I don't know how to say the past tense of sleepwalk.
We're sleepwalking.
Has been sleepwalking.
Yes.
Chiefs Broncos. Apparently Patrick Mahomes had the flu, which explains why
he looked terrible.
Defense gave up 24 points to the Broncos.
He looked so
I know
bad.
He looked bad, but it's funny to me that they're like, well, they lost because Mahomes had the flu. Okay, well, their defense also gave up 24 points. Like, he has nothing to do with that.
Well, he does if he's not getting first downs and the defense is on the field the entire game. But I don't know that's the truth. Let me go look at the team stats. Time of possession. Yeah. Where is it? Yeah, so the Broncos had the possession 33 minutes and 47 seconds to 26 minutes. So it's not that lopsided, but the offense can definitely affect the defense.
Well, and they lost 3 fumbles, but Mahomes lost 1 of them. So he alone had 3 turnovers. So
he got me 6 points in fantasy. That's how bad he played. 6 points after
he
giving
had
you 48 the
very
week before.
Yeah. Well, and also Taylor Swift wasn't at this game, guys. So, I mean, that right there is why they lost.
Well, Kelsey did stay under his 60-yard average when she's not there, so makes sense.
Yep, see? Yeah, good win for the Broncos. I don't know if they'll continue
way
it.
Way to screw up your picks, because that's all you're playing for right now.
All they're doing. But Bears Chargers. This was embarrassing. Also what we expected.
Did you see the tweet from the Chargers? Like the Chargers official account on Twitter? It was hilarious. It was that meme where it's like Starship Troopers. I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part.
Oh yeah, I saw that on TikTok actually. Yeah, they shared that.
It was the offense, the defense, and then special teams, and then the last one was a picture of the Bears. I didn't do fucking shit. I'm like, yes. I mean, make fun of them officially. That's great.
Well, the funny thing is, like, when you look at this game, Chargers Bears, you'd think, oh, the Chargers will massacre them, but the Chargers have been playing so poorly that you start to worry. But no, they really did massacre them, 30-13. Herbert was on fire. Eckler, it was all passing, 7 for 94 and a touchdown receiving. So yeah, it was exactly what you'd think the game would be. But as Chargers fans, there's always that concern of like, hey, are we going to screw this up?
Yeah, for sure.
And then, of course, Raiders, Lions. Lions, you know, if they hadn't kicked so many field goals and they could be able to punch in the touchdown, then you'd be able to tell how dominant it was by the score. Because you look at 26-14 and you think, oh, it's not bad. But honestly, the Lions just waxed them all game.
Jahmyr Gibbs all-purpose yards. Let's see here. 189 all-purpose yards.
Yep.
Raiders team stats. 157 yards total.
Yep. Yeah,
that tells the entire fucking
Gibbs
story.
Breakout game, man.
He had more yards himself than the entire Raiders. Not to mention all the other yards that the team got. So yeah, it was a dominant game. The only thing that wasn't dominant was 3 straight drives to begin the game, ending in field goals. Which is exactly why that person moved them down their power rankings. They could not score against the Raiders. And I'm like, did you watch Max Crosby? Did you see him in that game? The guy is an absolute beast. So, yeah, okay. It's understandable that you would think that, oh, the Lions will just want to stomp the Raiders into the ground after what happened last week. And the fact that they didn't means they're still questionable. Okay, they won. Dominating. They won dominating. So, I don't know what other people want. It was a bad game, like I said last week, by the Lions. This week, good game. So, I don't care about power rankings. All I care is about results, and we won. So, there you go.
Well, and what's funny, too, is, like, if you look at the Lions fumbled twice, including one at, like, the goal line. They had a red zone interception.
Put air quotes on that one.
Well, yeah.
Fumbled at the goal line.
What the official scoring summary says. Mm-hmm. They missed a field goal. So, like, they were just marching up and down the field. Like, they were just constantly the Raiders could not stop them at all. But all anybody's going to look at is like, well, you know, they didn't score 50 on the Raiders, so they're bad. It's like, no.
When people's
even with all those miscues, they still whooped them.
And would the tune have changed if Goff hadn't thrown a 75-yard pick six? If it was 26-7, would that have changed things for people? Like, there was one play, one singular play that they scored on a bad throw by Goff. And that makes it 14-26 in the end. So, they didn't dominate. Anyways, whatever. It was a good game. I love this.
Some people just, they're never going to respect the Lions because they grew up not respecting them and they don't know how to change.
Yeah, totally fine by me. You don't get on the bandwagon later.
All right, well, that was week 8, so let's dive on into week 9, starting with our Thursday night foreplay for tomorrow night. So my odds are plus 208. I went a little bit lower because I'm just trying to get a win here. But I'm going to go with Will Levis, 1+ passing touchdown. I mean, he threw 4 on Sunday, so I'm hoping he can get 1 tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Najee Harris, 25+ rushing yards. Derrick Henry, 50+. And DeAndre Hopkins, 40+ receiving yards.
I believe in everything but your last one.
You think Dion can get 40 yards after getting 100 and something?
Have you seen his stats for the entire season? I don't think he can. No.
Different quarterback.
I don't care.
This is Will Levis now.
It's still DeAndre Hopkins, and he has not played well this year. We will see.
We'll see.
I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm saying I did not pick it because I don't believe in Hopkins. But that's me. But I also don't believe in my picks, so there's that. I had Pickens with over 3.5 receptions, which he's done all but one game this season. So he won't tomorrow because I picked it. I picked the Steelers to win the first half and win the game. So the second half win as well. I picked under 50.5 points in the game. And that's probably the safest one, I think. And then I picked Najee Harris with 25 plus rushing yards. And that one, of all of them, is probably the one I believe in the least. Now you said
I'm worried about it because we both picked that, so that probably means it's not going to happen.
Yeah, Najee Harris, like we've talked about all day, or all on this podcast. Najee Harris, just don't believe that he is consistent, and we'll see. We'll see what happens because I don't know.
I mean, 25 is a low number, so you just gotta hope that he can like break one for 20 yards or something.
Well, the only reason he's the one I picked and not Henry is because the Henry odds for 25 rushing were like way worse than Najee's. Because everybody knows.
Yeah, that's why I went with 50.
Everybody knows that Henry's getting 25 yards, so
yeah. I went with 50 because when I did 25 and my odds were like plus 108 or something, I was like, well, I got to do more than that. So I bumped that one up a little bit, but yeah, it should be interesting. The one that I'm most nervous about for you is the first half, second half, because that one can always be crazy. I mean, look at the Commanders leading at the first half on Sunday and then losing. Like that one always makes me nervous.
Well, since I still have not won a 4-play, I had to try something different, and that was one of them. So
well, we shall see. But all right, so let's dive in to our picks. Last week you went 10-6, I went 12-5. The difference is that you did not get your bonus because I forget who you picked to win in your bonus, but it did not come true. Let me look at last week's notes. You had the Texans over the Panthers, so I got an extra win there. But that puts you at 78-48 for the season, and me at 80-48. So I have taken the lead, which unfortunately means I now have to go first, which I have not done all season. It's very stressful.
And now you get to pick first. Now I can react to you.
Yes, it makes it a lot more stressful when I haven't done it all year, and now I'm like, crap, I have to go first.
Yeah, I'm trying to stay on top. I did it for 8 weeks.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard.
All right,
so first game.
I'll introduce them now since you are picking first. How about that?
All right, that's fair.
So we've got the Titans at the Steelers, where the Steelers are favored by 2.5 points. In the Thursday night football game we just talked about. My pick should be obvious because it's part of my bet, but
you don't want to pick. Actually, you should pick against your bet. That way you'll win one of them should the worst happen.
See, I'd rather get back on top in the week standings than win that bet. That's where I'm at.
I actually am a little nervous about this one just because with Levis, I don't know what to expect out of the Titans. But the Steelers are home. And that defense, especially Mike Tomlin against a rookie quarterback, I think, well, not a rookie. Well, yeah, he's a rookie. Will Levis is a rookie. I think the Steelers get the win there. So I am also going with the Steelers.
I will just, with Will Levis starting, I have one quote to tell you.
What?
I love tacos, and now you know that. TJ Watt is going to eat Will Levis alive. That's what I see.
Yes, he probably will.
So
yeah, it's good. It's funny. A week ago, I was looking at the Titans Steelers like I could care less, But now with Levis playing, I'm actually like, there's something to watch here.
Exactly. I'm with you. You got the Dolphins at the Chiefs, where the Chiefs are favored by 1.5.
And this is a Germany game early Sunday morning, which means I have to wake up at 7 a.m. to watch this because this is such a good matchup. I actually want to watch it. So yeah, be waking up nice and early.
BMZR, if you're listening to this, I hope you're going to this game because you guys got a primo matchup in Germany.
This is a fantastic matchup. Gosh. You'd think that the Chiefs, coming off of that game last week, would bounce back, but I got to go with the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins just look better all around right now. And I don't think Taylor Swift is making the trip to Germany. So I don't think the Chiefs are going to do that well. So I'm going with the Dolphins.
I was also going to pick the Dolphins simply for the fact that after how bad Mahomes looked last week, and I know it was him being sick, much better team this week. And if he still has any lingering effects of that, or even if it's just a mindset or the movement, jet lag, whatever, I'm going to take the Dolphins. And if I lose and the Chiefs win this, I won't be surprised, but I think the Dolphins will definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if the Chiefs win. It's very close. I have more faith in the Dolphins right now than I do the Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. All right, so next up, you've got the Rams at the Packers, where the Packers are favored by 3 points.
God, I don't know if Matthew Stafford's going to play. Yeah,
I don't either.
With the Packers.
And
I got to go with the Packers because if he doesn't play, then I'd get screwed. So.
Yeah, I'm picking the Packers only because I don't think Stafford's going to play. And this is the fun part about the Dynasty League, right? Sean Watson, who I got traded from you, hasn't played in weeks. Yeah. So all I've had as an option is Stafford, who's now also hurt. And there is one other quarterback on my roster. Do you know who it is?
Trey Lance.
Nope. Dropped him at the beginning of the season. The only other he's on the taxi squad. And he's starting this week.
Aiden O'Connell?
Hell yeah. So I might be starting Aiden O'Connell in the Dynasty League this week. If Stafford's hurt. So we'll see what happens.
I just looked it up and it said Stafford missed practice today and the Rams signed a quarterback to their practice squad. So I don't really have a lot of faith in him starting. So yeah, Packers for sure.
Buccaneers at Texans, where the Texans are favored by 3 points.
I'm really confused by the line on this one.
Yeah, why are the Bucks? Why are the Bucks not favored? Well, I mean, the Bucks lost last week, right?
They did. They lost to the Bills in that Thursday night game. But see, they're coming off a 10-day bye, kind of mini bye type thing. The Texans looked so bad against the Panthers. Gosh. I got to go with the Bucks. I know it's probably stupid, but I'm going to go with the Bucks.
And I'm going to go with the Texans because I feel like next week is the Buccaneers actual bye. I feel like they're going to be checked out on this game.
Yeah, they very well could be. Baker Mayfield, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin.
True, I didn't bet on Mike Evans this week, so he might go off.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this one, it's funny. The Texans are favored by 3, but to me, this is like a coin flip. So I would expect us to have games like this different. Because, I would have picked different from you just to be different. But, yeah. I don't know. I feel like the Bucs will win this. But who knows? Maybe the Texans will bounce back and they'll look like the offense they did a couple weeks ago.
Commanders at the Patriots. Patriots favored by 3.5 points.
This is another line where I'm like, why are the Patriots favored by 3.5 over the Commanders? um, I honestly think the Commanders should win this game. I mean, if we play like we did against Philly, against New England, who has not looked good, then we should win. But it's New England at home, and my team likes to lose games we should win, so I'm going to take the Patriots.
And in true me form, I'm going to take the Commanders because I think they're going to win, which means they're going to lose because every time I've picked the Commanders, they've lost. So, give me the Commanders.
Yes. So thank you for taking them and jinxing them because I just want a high draft pick at this point.
Yeah. All right, you got the Bears at the Saints, where the Saints are favored by 8.5 points. Probably their biggest spread of the entire season.
Not even a question in my mind. If the Bears won this game, I would be absolutely shocked. It's the Saints.
Yeah, I'll take the Saints too. After scoring their 38 points,
yeah,
I think they'll be fine. Vikings at the Falcons, where the Falcons are favored by 4.5 points with Taylor Heinicke.
Taylor Heinicke. Yeah, before Kirk went down, obviously I think the Vikings would have won this game. But now if they're starting either Dobbs or their rookie, I think the Falcons win.
Yeah, I'll take the Falcons backup over the Vikings backup.
Yeah. Heineke's a solid backup compared to a rookie. And who knows? Maybe now they have a new quarterback that Arthur Smith will be like, let's hand the ball off to our first-round running back.
Yeah, finally. Cardinals at the Browns, where the Browns are favored by 7.5 points.
Myles Garrett is going to destroy Clayton Tune, and I feel bad for him. I'm going with the Browns.
I also take the Browns, who've played very hard games the last few weeks. And
yeah, even though PJ Walker is not that good. And it's funny, I guarantee you the reason Kyler Murray's not coming back for this game is because it's the Browns defense. And they're like, we don't want you dying in your first game back.
Yeah.
So they'll throw Clayton Tune out there for a week, and then Kyler will come back.
Exactly. Next up, you've got the Seahawks at the Ravens, where the Ravens are favored by 5.5 points.
It's a little line. I'm like, I think the Ravens win, and I am picking them. But 5.5 seems so high. The Seahawks are leading the division. Like they have one less loss than the 49ers now and are technically in first place in the NFC West.
Yeah.
And the Ravens, besides the Lions game, have not looked that good this year, but everyone's like, oh no, Ravens, 5.5 points. Like, no, I think this game's gonna be a lot closer than that. But I'm still taking the Ravens.
Yep, I'll take the Ravens as well. While the Seahawks are 5-2, their best win, or the best team they've won against, was the Lions. And the next closest good team, not even by record, was Cincinnati, who they lost to. So I don't, unless they pull something out of their hat and prove that they can beat the good teams, then
yeah,
there you go. Colts at the Panthers, where the Panthers are favored. Panthers are favored by 2.5 points.
I had to look at that one multiple times to make sure I had that right.
Well, according to...
I don't. My bad. It's the Colts that are favored.
I was say, according to ESPN, Indianapolis is favored by 2.5. But that could have changed over time because neither of these teams are world burners. So,
yeah. Well, that's a bummer. I was going to take the Colts, and I thought it would be an upset. But yeah, I'm taking the Colts.
Yeah, I am also taking the Colts.
Yeah. Panthers,
despite the Panthers beating the Texans, they won on a last-second field goal in a game that they were getting their butts kicked. So,
yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe after the bye week they're going to go on a little winning streak, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah. Cowboys at the Eagles, where the Eagles are favored by 3 points.
This is going to be a really good game.
We will see.
I'm just happy because one of them gets to lose.
Yeah.
That makes me so happy that one of these teams will lose because then everybody can stop talking about them for 1 week. But I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
I am also going with the Eagles because that team is just absolutely tearing it up right now. The only thing you can be afraid of is that the Eagles have one of the worst passing defenses in the league. Unfortunately for the Cowboys, they have one singular receiver. named CeeDee Lamb. So,
oh, but Brandon Cooks though.
I mean, he's done decent the last few weeks, but my point still stands. We'll see what happens.
That was sarcasm, anyways.
I know, but he has been doing well the past few weeks. Giants at the Raiders. Raiders favored by 1.5 points.
This is a really, really tough one. Because I think Daniel Jones should be back for this game, but he's also played like shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with the Raiders. I think new coach, they're fired up. They're at home. I think they're going to get the win.
I hope they do. I'm really looking forward to this game. Watching this game. I think the Cardinals...
The morning.
Is the morning. Yeah. So, yeah, I can watch this game in the afternoon. Lions don't play this week, so I can pick anything I want to watch this week. But I really want to see this game. I just want to see how Aiden O'Connell does. I want to see how the team reacts to and plays for their interim coach. I don't think the Giants really have anything exciting that they're playing for besides themselves. And you saw the -9 yards passing offense last week. If Daniel Jones isn't there, you can just count on the Raiders winning. But even with him, I'm not sure that it matters. We'll see what happens. Raiders for me. Bills
There's only 3 late games on Sunday, so you could actually do a split screen with Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Raiders. That's my plan.
Unfortunately, YouTube TV doesn't let you make your own split screens, so hopefully it exists it's there.
It will.
But
when there's only 3 games, I have to imagine they'll have.
When it's 3 games, I'm just hoping it'll have those 3 games in the red zone, and then that would be perfect.
Yeah, well, but if you're watching 2 out of 3 games, do you need the red zone?
Usually I'm watching one screen, and unless they highlight what's happening on another screen, I might miss it. So I'll take it.
My eyes are always jumping.
Not to mention, no matter if it's just 3 or 4, they're all going to be the same size. So might as well have 4 instead of 3.
Yeah.
Bills at the Bengals, where the Bengals are favored by 1.5 points.
This is such a fantastic Sunday night football game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with the Bengals.
Interesting. Let's look here. I'm gonna go with the Bills. They also had a mini bye to get ready for this game, so I'll take the Bills.
I mean, the only reason I'm going with the Bengals is 1, they're home, and 2, I just think like the Bills beat the Bucs, but they didn't do it. I don't know. The Bengals win over the 49ers was just so smooth, and Burrow looks so good. I just feel like they're going to keep riding that train. So, yeah, I'm going with the Bengals. But, yeah,
the Bills have
such a good game.
The Bills' last 4 games, which make my pick terrible. What happened to my camera? Oh, I see.
I don't know.
It's following me because I put my hand in the air. Their last 4 games, lost to the Jags. Jags are a good team. Beat the Giants 14-9. Lost to New England 29-25. And then beat Tampa Bay 24-18. So this could be a terrible pick for me, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. It'll be a fun game, though.
It will. You got the Chargers at the Jets, where the Chargers are favored by 3.5 points.
The Jets do have such a good defense, but I got to go with the Chargers. They've hopefully beaten up on the Bears, kind of wakes that team up, and they start playing up to where they should be playing. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Chargers.
Seeing what Breece Hall did last week, the Chargers are decent run defense, and a bad pass offense team. So you saw what happened when you shut down the run against the Jets last week. So even though the Jets won, I'm just saying, I think the Chargers
Wasn't pretty.
Yeah, exactly. I'll take the Chargers in this one as well.
Nice.
So
there you go. 3 differences. So good opportunity for you to take the lead right back.
Or dig myself a hole.
That's true. Oh, we got to do our bonus picks.
That'll be.
This is a tough week for bonus picks.
It is. Nope, that's too high. I thought I was gonna pick one, but I can't pick that one. So
I know the only 2 that I'm uber confident in are the ones that are over a touchdown.
Well, Saints Bears is 8.5, and that's the one I was looking at.
Yeah.
So, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna take the Browns. That's over a touchdown.
Yep, that's over a touchdown. I know it's tough.
Give me the Raiders or the Giants.
Ooh, I like that. I was looking at the Falcons because the Vikings are starting. Who the hell knows? Oh boy. Yeah, I just got to go with the Falcons. I mean, the Vikings are starting either a rookie or Josh Dobbs. And I just have to believe that the Falcons will get the win at home. So,
alrighty.
Perfect. All right, so let's move on to our fantasy sleepers. So last week, you didn't do too bad. I did bad, but you didn't do too bad. So quarterbacks, though, you took Kenny Pickett against the Jags. He was ranked 22nd. He finished 34th, so not good.
Whoops.
Of course, he did get banged up in that game, but hopefully he will bounce back this week. I took Bryce Young. He was 19th ranked versus Houston. He finished 23rd, which I'm considering a push because that's pretty close to where he was ranked. But running backs, you took Gus Edwards, ranked 24th, finished RB3 for the week against Arizona. I think it's like the second time you've picked a running back and they finished in the top 3 at the position. So
let's
running
go.
Back is your speciality. I took Dameon Pierce, who was ranked 30th and finished with 4.6 points.
I put him in my starting
good.
lineup in my Dynasty League, which I lost because of this pick.
Yeah, that was,
thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, that was Houston. I blame them. They disappeared.
Yeah.
Wide receivers, we both hit. You took Deontay Johnson. He was ranked 32nd and finished 21st. I took Calvin Ridley. He was ranked 34th and finished 28th. So not much higher, but still higher than his ranking.
Better than one catch for 5 yards.
Yes, absolutely did have a bounce back game. Tight end, again, Donald Parham. He was ranked 35th. And Gerald Everett was announced out, which made that pick fantastic over the weekend, and he finished 12th. So starting tight end in a 12-team league. I took Mike Gesicki in a revenge game at Miami. He was ranked 32nd, and he finished with 3.1 points. So not good for me. You went 3-1. Fantastic. I went 1-2-1. So for the season now, you have 11 wins, 9 losses, 4 ties. I have 9 wins, 11 losses, 8 ties, because you did not do week 1. So I have 4 more than you. So yeah, not a pretty good showing for me last week, 3-1. I'll see how you follow it up this week.
I don't have confidence in these ones, but I do. We'll see how they go.
All right. So quarterbacks, I'm going to start off. I'm going with Mac Jones against the Commanders. Our pass defense is terrible, and it's a home game for New England. I trust Bill Belichick to scheme a very good game. He's ranked 21st as well, which is fairly low. I think he should be able to finish top 12.
Okay. I got you. Dan, why did I say my name?
Dan's going with
I picked Derek Carr.
George is getting upset.
I picked
You ever
Derek.
watch Seinfeld?
No.
You never watched Seinfeld?
Well, I mean, I watched Seinfeld, but I don't know the reference.
Oh, George Costanza like starts talking to the third person.
Oh,
Like he gets
nice.
angry. He's like, George is getting upset.
Nice. I love George. He's great.
Oh, fantastic show.
I picked Derek Carr. He's the 18th ranked QB versus Chicago. So, with the Saints scoring 38 points last week, now going up with the Chicago defense, he's ranked 18th. That's a chance to move up for him with some decent points. So I picked him.
Yeah, he had a great week on Sunday. I can't believe that he's ranked so low against the Bears.
Yeah, exactly.
Running backs, a little interesting here. We're both taking Browns running backs against the Cardinals. I took Jerome Ford, who's ranked 22nd.
Yeah, and then I took Kareem Hunt, who's 34th. Watching the Browns game last week, it seemed like they were leaning into Kareem Hunt a lot. So,
I think with Jerome Ford, hopefully now that he's back and healthy, he'll regain that starting role. But who knows? Both of them could run wild over the Cardinals.
Yeah, it could be a dual threat.
Yes.
Like Gus Edwards split into two.
Wide receivers, I'm going back to the well that I call the Rashee Rice
When
well.
I saw this, I was like, oh, he's
Yes.
Rashee
Because
Rice
once again, he's ranked 40th at wide receiver. And he's in a game against Miami that the Chiefs should be throwing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like to finish higher than 40th, he's going to need 8 points. Yeah, I'm pretty confident he's going to finish higher than that. So yeah, I'm going Rashee Rice.
I went with Jacoby Myers, 31st ranked wide receiver versus the Giants. I feel like Aiden O'Connell, hopefully we'll get him and Devontae Adams involved in the offense and should see some good points out of him.
Yeah, I think the offense is going to look entirely different without Josh McDaniels. So that is going to be really interesting to watch. And finally, tight end. I mentioned it earlier. Taysom Hill is my pick. He's ranked 19th against Chicago. You know that dude's going to run for a touchdown or throw for a touchdown or do something stupid. So that's my pick against the Bears.
I picked K. Doughton simply because I had to pick him up and start him in one of my leagues. So I'm picking him. So I double win if I win.
Yeah, man, you're doubling down.
Yeah.
I like it. Well, there you go. That is week 9 preview.
There it is, everybody. So that will do it for episode 16. Thanks everyone for coming and hanging out. If you're listening to the audio podcast, you should know that every Wednesday we live stream the recording of this podcast, youtube.com/@Coffin Corner. You can find us there. You can find all the video replays. If you enjoy watching as you listen, you can find the video replays of the lives on our YouTube, or you can come join us every Wednesday between 7 and 7:30 is when we start. And that's when we record live. Come on the chat and we can answer questions live. Otherwise, you can find us on X/Twitter at Coffin Corners. You can find us on TikTok at Coffin Corner Podcast. And other than that, that should do it for this week. Don't got a lot left to say for this week. Unless Richie, you have anything?
No, that was everything.
All righty. Well, until next week. I hope that your teams play well, unless they are playing mine.